Well, I think that's enough of that. It's like a bad earth angel or something like that, if there is such a thing. We're messing around with some reverbs today, and I got a DanElectro spring reverb. Show the picture right here. And I'd been looking at them for a couple of years. I have the Reel Echo, which is the same size as this. I mean, they're big. And if you use reverb and echo and put both of those, it would take up the better part of a whole pedal board. And I was going to compare them to the reverbs in the Keeley Memphis Sun and the Boss Space Echo. But, you know, those are primarily echoes, with reverb is kind of an afterthought, although they work just fine with the reverb. But I thought other things had better control. So I thought I'd kind of do a show and tell and a little bit of a comparison between the DanElectro spring reverb and reverb spring in the Line 6 Pod Go. And then I'm just running it through a Fender solid state Champion 20 amp that also has reverb. So I thought those three would be fun. The DanElectro is really interesting that it's an actual spring reverb. It has springs in there. I think as I recall, it has 3 springs or 4 springs. One channel on YouTube talked about how he had changed the springs, and it made it a lot better. And I don't know. I'm not technically minded. I don't know where you'd get springs or what springs you would get. So, but the idea is interesting, I think. As you can see, it just has 3 controls: volume, tone, and reverb. And there's a pad down below, that round circular pad. That's a kick pad. So you can be just like they were in the 60s, where the reverb would act up. The reverb I kind of grew up around was my oldest brother's. They had Gibson amps, and so therefore he had a matching Gibson standalone reverb tank, just like a Fender reverb. And it sounded to my ears to be really, really good back in the day. I'm not sure where it stands historically, if people think that or not. I know the Fender ones are the ones that are really sought after. But the Gibson one I thought sounded good too. And there was a difference on that than I hear in this one. So we're just going to play. That didn't sound bad. We got to remember, it's a spring reverb, so it's one trick pony. It does a spring reverb. There's no hall reverb, no plate reverb, nothing extra there. And if we turn that reverb all the way up, we basically cut the guitar out of the mix, and it's just the straight reverb sound. So you got it. The reverb knob is sort of the mix knob, and then the volume is for the volume of the reverb sound. And I use reverb. You get the idea. There's also a tone control, so you can control the tone of the reverb. It's not affecting the guitar. That's a pretty bassy. Still, turned all the way up. Oh, so maybe all the way up is the bassy tone. Sounds sharper turned off. Yeah. I just keep it in the middle, which I think sounds about the best. Oftentimes when you strike a note sharp, it's got that extra hollowness to it in the after note that's somewhat unkind, I think. It's not very nice sounding. It's okay. But I'd prefer not to have that, have some control over that. And to have control over that, you would have to have extra knobs that have pre-delay and post-delay and all that good stuff. So we're going to turn this one off, and we're going to go to the 63 spring reverb in the Pod Go. And it does have knobs, and it has the decay, pre-delay, the low cut, high cut, the total mix, the level, and trails. And trails I have turned off. Let's turn that on. So now all you're hearing is the Pod Go reverb, which in my opinion already sounds a little bit better. And the mix is set at 34. The mix is critical. If you go all the way over there to 100, it's just going to be reverb and no guitar. I can't hear that guitar note through the amp at all. I can only hear the after note, the reverb. And so I tend to set it, it always came preset at 35, and it seems to revert back even though I saved it. Pod Go, this is just a great sounding reverb in here, and it sounds just great, but it's got all those things, and I can never remember what does what. There's decay, pre-delay, low cut, high cut, yeah, the levels, well, the level's up at max. Oh, there, you turn that level up, wowee, it really barks. Turn the level way down and it's barely audible. So even though it's turned up, it shows it turned up way high at about 90%. It's really at 0 dB, which is where it sounds best. Trails are on, trails are off. Trails are on. It gives it a little extra something there that I'm not fond of, so off that goes. It's that warble, it's that post-note warble that's in there, which is pretty common amongst some of the old reverb units from way back when. I'm not a fan. I prefer the modern day reverbs that are all digital. I really like some of them that have your choice of hall, plate, room, all that kind of stuff. I like those reverbs. Hall of Fame has always been my main reverb, but I use Echo more, and then so therefore, like the Space Echo as an example, has an extra little reverb, and you can just add that on with the Echo, and it sounds great. And the Keeley Memphis Sun is the same way. It's just reverb as an extra add-on to delay, and I like that. So we'll turn that off. Go back to the dry sound. And now we're going to turn on the reverb to the Fender Champ 20 solid state 20 watt amp. That sounds really good, which is just amazing. That's a $99, well, it was $99 when I bought it. It was, I think it's $129 now or something like that. You know, I mean, that's amazing to me that it sounds that good. There's not much you can control on it. You set it on reverb, and it has combinations, reverb and delay, or reverb and chorus and things like that. But you set it on straight reverb. Make sure I got it on straight reverb and not echo. Yes, I do. And then the only thing to control there is the effects level, which is a whole lot. I've got that turned on too. If I turn it all the way up. Turn it all the way up, you would think you couldn't hear the guitar note. You'd only hear the reverb. It would be like a blend knob, but it's not. Both notes come through, the guitar and the after effect of the reverb. Yeah, so I have the reverb, for reverb purposes, turned up to like 3. Or 6. Turn that down to about 3. Up to 4. Yeah, there it is. That sounds good. Let's turn that back off again and go back to the DanElectro. And you hear that post note has that warble in it that I'm not real fond of. I hear some people talk about whether a reverb has drip. We never talked about that, so I don't know. Maybe a pinch less reverb and a little more volume. A little better. So the DanElectro, I'm not going to spend a lot of time. I'm going to show you a picture of the back. It's got plug-in. It's got the 9-volt plug-in, and it's got, you know, guitar in, guitar out, and that's it. And it comes with a DanElectro battery. I was going to buy one used on like Reverb and E. They were always like 90 bucks, 70 bucks. Somewhere in there, and you always questioned whether they were really in good shape or not. And now they're 120, I think, something like that. I don't remember. Sweetwater had them on their Good Friday sale for $94, and I thought, well, that's close enough to what I was looking at used, so I just bought one new. My opinion is I would use the reverb in the little amp if you're using a solid state, if it's got special effect. If you got a unit like a Pod Go, and I got to tell you, on my multi-effects, they all had, their reverbs are all, I'm good with all of them. Because in the mix, if you're playing with other people, you won't really tell the difference of it. I did compare this to the Boss Fender, I don't remember what it's called. Is that a 63 reverb tank also? It's a pedal. It's not a. It doesn't have springs. It's all digital, and it sounded. I liked it better than this too. I think this is a really. It's got that crash pad. That's pretty cool. Let's get some volume and really hear that. Now, back in the '60s, the main thing everybody was working on and trying to do was to prevent that from happening. Nobody wanted that sort of sound. Yeah, no. So, you know, Gibson piggyback amps with a reverb unit on top. If you're playing loud enough, the amp would vibrate it, or maybe if the bass amp was aimed, just anything vibrating it would cause it to do that. So, you know, I think everybody learned to carry along an extra little chair and put the reverb unit over by itself and maybe put some blankets under it to protect the vibration. And it was not a sound. It was not a sound we really wanted, you know. If I turn that reverb way up, turn the volume down, you can just hear that. So what you got to do is turn the volume up and turn the reverb way down. I'm really glad I got it. It's a fun thing to mess around with, especially when combined with the Reel Echo. I had a hoot with that the other, and the Space Echo. I messed around with that too. But quite frankly, it's a really cool toy, in my opinion. I think the other reverbs that are out there, you know, you get one of those multi ones where you got tons of options on it, you're going to be way happier. I think that's my impression anyway. I did compare it to the rumble seat, which has a reverb, echo, and drive built in, and I could actually do quite a bit more with the rumble seat. The reverb was a very subtle reverb, or I could crank it up, but it didn't constantly have that sort of warble. If I just broke your eardrums, I'm sorry. Anyway, that's the DanElectro. I don't know what we're going to go out on. We turned the power off again. Talk to you later. You can give me a thumbs up, thumbs down. If you like DanElectro stuff, this would be a fun one to, if you're a collector, to buy. Or if you're more serious about reverbs, maybe something else. I don't know. Anyway, talk to you later. Till next time. Bye-bye.